Hello. Hiya. Hi, everybody. So I'm Thea May from Working with Voice.
And I'm Sarah from Working with Voice.
So at Working with Voice, we're a communication coaching company, and we want every person to find their unique way of expressing themselves. No more code switching, mask wearing, or upholding of toxic communication norms, quite frankly, that got us into a disconnected and disembodied mess that we call modern life. So we are stripping back the fake it till you make it tactics out of your confidence journey so that you can focus on your sizzling authenticity in your life, your work, and your love. So today we are focusing on that all-important exit strategy when dating, so that you don't have to stick with bad dates until the awkward, bitter end if you don't want to. So Sarah and I were discussing this on the run up into Valentine's Day and the most awkward dating time of the year. Let's face it, Sarah. And you were sharing a really powerful story with me about something that a date that you'd had, and what tool you wish you'd had.
Yeah, definitely. So in an effort to save myself some time after kind of been dating for a few years and had some pretty awful times, I was trying to be more efficient with my time. So I introduced a Zoom round to my process. To save some time, because I live quite far out of London and like the commute and everything, and I would often turn up, and after having great chemistry, online and messaging and even like speaking on the phone was like great, and then you meet them and there's something, it is important, I think, to see someone, to pick up on their mannerisms and all that kind of stuff. So so that was a new addition to my process. And I met this guy on one of the dating apps, and it was going really well. So I invited him through to the next round. I know, you're through. to be my boyfriend. We got on the call, and I really quickly recognized that there was no chemistry. He was a really nice guy, and I think because he was a nice guy, the people pleaser in me wanted to make sure he had a lovely time. So I really gave my best me and kind of propped up the conversation, and spent an hour and a half talking to him.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot of time to spend with someone that
really time saving there.
Yeah, really saving myself. And then anyway, the call ended, and I thought, oh, he was really nice, but I don't want to see him in real life, and hoped that he would not contact me. And then the next day he sent me a message saying he really enjoyed our chat and could he take me out for dinner. No. And then I had to really politely say no, and I felt really awful that I had kind of wasted his time and my own time. So it was I'd kind of fixed a part of my process, saving the awkward face-to-face letting down, but so that's what happened.
Oh, yeah, it's a juicy one, and I imagine many of our watchers and our listeners can relate to that sort of situation where you've not wanted to upset somebody, offend somebody, hurt someone's feelings, or have that interaction where you have to see their disappointment. You're trying to avoid that whole thing, and but unfortunately all it does is just delay it. And in some ways it actually kind of amplified it, because if you think about his this guy's spent an hour and a half feeling like you were really into him. Oh God.
It's a really
And then you just have to
awful.
be at the end like, it's a no.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really powerful story, and one that a lot of people have come to me with, like, how do I let people down? How do I say no? And it goes outside of the dating context as well, right? It goes into other areas of our lives. We don't want to let people down. Friends that we're maybe not resonating with so much anymore, or particular colleagues that we, you know, for us it's a work relationship, it's not going to be more than that, even if it's like extending into friendship, not necessarily dating, but it's like the boundaries here. So
We're work friends.
work friends, okay? Just like you and me, Sarah, we're just work friends, okay? So so yeah, it sounds like you could have really have done with an exit strategy, a way of indicating way earlier on that this was a no for you, because it sounded like you knew pretty early, you knew pretty quick.
Yeah.
Even though it felt like a strong maybe towards a yes, which is why you know he went to round 2, level 2, but pretty quick you realize, is that, would you say that was true?
Yeah, we had lots in common, like, you know, we had lots of you know, we both had kids and, you know, a situation and work backgrounds and things like that, so it was like, you know, on paper he's ticking boxes.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally. Okay, so what could you imagine that you could have done if we're working on this idea that an exit strategy, letting them know a little bit sooner, what might that have looked like within that context that you had?
Having a way out from the beginning would have been
Right.
great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, you know, I think I could have you know, put a time limit on the call and just said, you know, I need to go in half an hour because I've got, you know, I need to put my daughter to bed, or yeah.
Okay, cool. And you're absolutely right. And there are ways that you can do that you can indicate that from the very top of the call. So you start to manage the expectations right from the beginning. It then means that you've already pinged their awareness onto the fact that that's coming. So the fact that you're going to end the call early, that you might have to chip off, that you're going to go and do something else. You know, he's got kids as well, so he knows what kids are like, and the kind of the whole world that comes with that. And so, yeah, it's that's a really powerful way to. The first thing to do is to, at the top of the call, you indicate that you're only going to stay on for half an hour, that you might have to take your kids to bed, or, you know, you've got about 15-20 minutes. That's the first thing you can do, is put that caveat on the top of the call, or the top of the interaction, or even the top of the date.
Yeah.
You can, so in a dating scenario, that's what that might sound like. But then in a like a more like a family scenario, for example, or a networking scenario, it might sound like, so there's quite a lot of people here that I really want to make sure that I connect with as well. So it's really lovely to see you, but I'm only gonna go and like chat with some other people as well before the end of the evening. And then you've already kind of created a get out clause.
Yeah.
You can easily bring back in, because you've put it into their awareness.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing, managing expectations from the beginning.
I think that's a great tool for like every situation in life. Like I'm definitely going to start using that for everything.
It's brilliant, like right from the beginning. If it ends up going on a little bit longer because it's going really well, whatever the context is, and you can just be like, you know what, I'm just going to check in with so and so, see if they're all right if I arrive a bit later, or you just go like, I'm really enjoying this actually, you know, I'm going to stay here, you know, and just genuinely just be where you are and say that and indicate that, because then you're starting to indicate, I've got vibes with you. You know what, I'm just going to stay here for a little bit longer. I can probably do like another half an hour before the kids really need to go to bed, you know. So you have that adjustment that you can make as well really easily if you feel all the vibes. So it's not you haven't closed the door before you've started. by indicating that you might only be there for 25 minutes, half an hour.
Yeah. I've got a hard stop.
Yeah, exactly.
Soft stop.
Can you imagine saying that on video?
Yeah, I've got hard stop. Like you're in a business meeting.
Absolutely brilliant. Sexy, but that might be some people sexy, so that's cool. The other thing to do is that there are always lulls and pauses and kind of little windows that you can adjust what's happening. You could make direction changes. So if in real life and you're gone for a meal or for a drink, it's the end of the drink, it's the end of that course, you're not going to have dessert, it's one of you goes to the toilet. These are all like lulls, where the breaks in the flow, where it's not like you're mid-interaction, you're going, wait, I'm just going to stop you right there. Right? It's a natural.
I'm just really not feeling this.
Nope.
Yeah. What not to do, by the way.
What not to do. Yeah. So there are these beautiful natural pauses, ebbs and flows in conversation anyway. They are opportunities to bring in one of your exit strategy phrases or indicators or whatever. It's like, I want to try and catch the next bus or what have you. So you have these little windows where you can use. It sounds like on your 90-minute call that you didn't want to be on.
There were like so many opportunities for me to stop because I was like in full power people-pleasing mode. I was like, I must keep this, ask more questions, find out everything there is to know about this guy.
Yeah. So on reflection, you can see that there were all those little spaces.
Yeah, loads of them.
They're like junctions basically, and you don't have to go straight ahead. You can take a left, you can take a right, you can do a U-turn and just go all the way home.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. So the first thing is to indicate at the top of the call.
Yeah.
You can always undo later by indicating interest and attraction and I want to be there. And the other place is you would want to use the lulls anyway, but if you haven't indicated up here, you still have the lulls to play with. It's just a little bit more of an edge around them if you haven't done that top indicator at the very start of the interaction of the conversation. So would that have been useful? Yeah,
it's like, so I'm going to manage your expectations at the top of the call. Should I be really business-like about it? Be like, just to manage your expectations, I've got a hard stop at 8:30.
I mean,
just like
person sexy is different, but I would suggest a slightly more colloquial approach.
I just keep going back to business because I'm so used to using Zoom for business calls. It's
for sure. Yeah, we're all adjusting.
Exactly.
Some phrases that might be useful would be things like, as much as I have appreciated meeting you, I don't really feel that the chemistry is here for me. Or I'm a really big fan of honesty and I really don't want to waste either of our time. So it'd be fair to tell me that for me, this isn't going to go anywhere more than just friends. But I really enjoyed meeting you.
Yeah, I love that one.
Just always be kind, because we're all in those situations going a bit like, am I good enough? Am I going to pass the test?
But then, even if you're like, I know I don't want to pass this test, you're kind of like, please, want to pass all the tests.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like, dating is everyone is there with a little bit of nervous excitement, anxiety, right?
Yeah.
It's always a little bit of a thing that you're kind of navigating. So the baseline is be kind, be respectful, right? And being respectful is indicating and being honest that the chemistry isn't there for you.
Yeah.
That is respectful. That's genuinely respectful.
Yeah.
And then sexy is knowing that you're both interested. So if you feel the vibes, you're like, I reckon I can squeeze in another 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That's really clear. You're kind of just going like, it's a yes for me.
Yeah.
Let's go to level 3.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, those are the boundaries to work with. Always be kind, manage expectations, use the lulls.
Yeah.
That's it.
Amazing.
Cool. Well, I wish you the best of luck with your next round of dates. And for those of you who have not seen us before or not come across our stuff before, you can find us at workingwithvoice.com, or you can find us with working_with_voice on Instagram. That's a great place to find more resources. There's tons of stuff on there that you can make use of. There's loads more tips for different parts of dating as well. So do go and check out those resources. And if you have more questions, pop them in the comments below, or there's also a link to a form where you can send questions in, and we'll do more little videos like this. Yeah, communication questions about dating, about work, about life, about boundaries, family, situations with friends, the whole gamut. Bring it on. All right. Bye, everybody.